Okay, good afternoon. My name again is Keith Howard, and I manage the Business Opportunities Division for the Department of Small and Local Business Development. Thank you all for uh, joining us today for a very informative training around the Green Book. Many of you were with us last week when the mayor made the announcement of the CBE spend and that the Green Book had changed and it's been improved and we've been a part of that improvement process and think you guys are gonna enjoy it. $1.4 billion is the agency spend with CBE. So just so everyone is aware, that is part of the CBE law that states that that all of our DC government agencies have a spend amount with CBEs that are small. So I'll use DSLBD as an example. If our expendable budget is $1 million, then we must spend 500,000 of that with CBEs that are small. And so we use many tools to help you all find those opportunities. And one of those tools is the Green Book. And so that's why we're all here today. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Someone from my team is going to monitor the chat. And if without further ado, we'll proceed. Next slide. All right, so you are in the right place. Our trainings today around the Green Book, fiscal year 2025. And we should go about till about 12:45 or so, 12:40, and then we'll want time for question and answer if we weren't able to get it in the chat. Next slide. So on behalf of our director, Rosemary Suggs Evans, who also was at that event last week and is, of course, an avid supporter of our CBE community, I bring you greetings on her behalf. She too was part of making this Green Book more efficient and effective for the end user, which is you all. Next slide. So the mission at the Department of Small and Local Business Development is to support the development, economic growth, and retention of district-based businesses and promotes economic development throughout the district's commercial corridors. Our vision is down below. It's also on our website. Next slide.
Hold on, Keith, if you could give a second. It's a couple of people in the chat saying they can't see the presentation.
Next slide, please.
Just can he not hear me?
All
Hello,
right,
Keith?
so the Green Book Guide overview. This is what we're going to go over today. You'll understand the type of products and services sought by DC government. We'll show you how to locate current and pending contract opportunities within monitored agencies. We'll show you the top industry spends. We'll do a demonstration shortly thereafter with my colleague Aziza Muzamil, who's on this call. I'm getting a note here that so I'll pause. Hey, Nathan, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Sharon, good to see you all.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Keith, can you hear me? Don't. Okay, people, you can hear me? Okay. Okay. I think, okay. Perfect. Can everybody see the screen?
Okay, we're getting a lot of thumbs up, and then we're getting a few can't see the slides.
Okay, it seems. mm, Okay, it seems like it's some people can see and others cannot. At this time, what I'll do is give me a second. I'm gonna share from my screen. Uh,
Mal, good to see you.
If you can see now, can you please give me a thumbs up? I'm sharing now. And if you cannot see, put it in the chat, please. Okay. I'm not sure what the reason is, but we are recording this, so we will send it out to you. Unfortunately, there may be some technical issues that we're not aware of, but seeming as most of the people can see, we are going to continue this. And for anybody that is having difficulty viewing it, we will be sharing the recording of this with you very shortly. We apologize for the inconvenience. Okay.
I can proceed. All right. Thank you, Aziza. Aziza is the best in the business, y'all. If y'all didn't know that. All right. Can you scroll me back up to my slides there, the where I left off? One after that. Okay, let's go right there. So let's start from the top. And again, we apologize and appreciate your patience. So the Green Book Guide overview, you're going to understand the type of products and services sought by DC government. I think you all, this will help you if you've ever done technical assistance with us. The first thing we look at is your CBE profile, which is in the directory. And then we also look at your capability statement. So this will help you to decide whether or not you want to add some codes to your list of approved NIGP codes. We're going to locate current and pending contract opportunities within the monitored agencies. I'm going to show you how to see what the top industries are for spending. Last year was construction. I don't believe there's any difference this year. Shortly, I'm going to turn over to Aziza, who will do a demonstration for you all of some of the new features, and also we'll leave some contact info if you want some technical assistance time with either our team or our Apex Accelerators team, we'll be glad to do it. Next slide. All right, so how do I access the Green Book online? Well, here's the link, right? So it's pretty easy. The link, the address hasn't changed, greenbookdc.com. It is not .gov, greenbookdc.com. So please make a note of that. Next slide. All right. So this is what everyone wanted to know was the spend. So the spend has gone up again. It's gone up so many years in a row that I have forgotten how many in a row. Last year was 1.2 billion. This year it's 1.4 billion. So again, let me just make sure everyone in the audience understands how do we come up with this number. So the way we come up with this number is the approximately 80 agencies in the government, in the district government, must uh, spend from their expendable budget 50% with CBEs that are small. Okay, and so that's how we get to the numbers. 2.8 billion is what's going to be spent, but the CBE spend specifically is 1.4 billion. And you can see if you use the pie chart right here, you could see how much it is to run the government in totality, et cetera, et cetera. It's actually interesting reading, and you can click on those in your leisure. But you'll see it gives you the fiscal year, the total budget, personnel and fixed costs, planned acquisitions and expenditures. So your magic number is 1.4 billion. I was doing technical assistance yesterday with a CBE, and they said to me something that I say to many of you all a lot. I've got to be able to win something out of 1.4 billion, or I've got to look at my processes for the way I do business development and marketing my business. Next slide. All right. Right here is the contract assistance information. You can always come to the business opportunities division. There's our email address. You can also, if you're looking for federal work as well, our Apex accelerators, and you can always go to the Office of Contracting and Procurement, OCP, and their ombudsman's office. So I am going to turn over to Aziza, who's going to show you all a demonstration of some of the new features of the Green Book.
Thank you, Keith. Can everyone hear me? Just thumbs up is good. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna go back to the slide before. I just want to go over some of the bullet points that are to the left. So the fiscal year, total budget, personnel and fixed cost, planned acquisition and expenditures. This is how we generate the number that Keith talked about. So that 1.4 billion, just pay attention to that as I am about to show you the Green Book. It'll come into play. So just give me a second to share that with you. All right, everyone. Can you see it should be a Google page searching for Greenbook DC? If you could see that, just thumbs up for me, please. Okay. Keith, can you see the screen? Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm just showing you it's simple. So if you aren't able to grab the link in there, you could just easily search it up on Google, Greenbook DC, and it's the first thing that pops up. So you're gonna head over there, and this is the page that is gonna show up. If you get on this page and you just want to see the a PDF version of the print copy of the Green Book, you could just click that and it'll give you a PDF copy. So this is exact electronic version of the Green Book that is printed. And this is, we want to differentiate, this is static information, meaning this information is not going to change as opposed to what I'm going to show you next. So it's going to have all the good information about, you know, the agencies, their budgets, what they plan to spend with the CBEs, and the types of things that they plan on purchasing. However, I'm going to go back to this. What you want to head to, in which we want to highlight this year, is the Find Opportunities tab, which is, as explained here, is new this year, but we have a lot of new features that are really cool and gonna make it easier for you to navigate to find the opportunities you're looking for. So as Keith mentioned, this is just a general chart of DC's budget, right? So you'll see here it's about 17.3 million, and then it breaks down by personnel expenditure, and then the planned acquisitions, which is the SB eligible goal, which is about 2.8 million, which is half of that is that 1.4 billion that is for SBEs that are CBEs. And what you want to go down to from here is it'll show you all this information, and you want to click on the goal spend. So right here, you see the overall DC budget, but what you can do now this year is you can actually change it to see based on the agency that you are looking for. So what I'm gonna do is provide a couple examples. So the first one is we're gonna do DOB. I believe you could Let's find DOB on here, Department of Buildings. So this changes to just specify Department of Building. So they have 67.5 million, and then it tells you their planned acquisition, which is about 22 million, and half of that, 50% is 11 million that they plan to spend with CBEs. So you could do that with any agency that you are interested in pursuing. And then what you want to go here is the planned acquisitions, right? So based here is the top 10 agencies. And as Keith mentioned, construction is still a top leader. That's why you're going to see here DDOT, DGS are the top agencies by spend. But then you'll see here these buttons. It also changes to top 10 by category. So again, construction is leading the pack, and then human services, professional services. And what I want to emphasize here is this information is being updated as opposed to previous year. As once we put it out, it just remains the same throughout the whole year. But now they're going to be updating it throughout the fiscal year. So right now, I believe it's quarterly. But as we are working on the system is going to be more frequent than that. So you're going to get real-time information as opposed to getting information that was, if you're checking on it, let's say in June of 2025, this is not going to be the information that was uploaded in January of 2025. It's going to be more present and updated information. So you want to see that, and then it also gives it to you by, just give me a second. Sorry, everyone. I was muted, but just to go over again, these bar graphs, you're going to be able to see by top 10 agency spend, top 10 by category spend, and then top 10 spend based on NIGP codes. And then when you scroll down, which is the really like what is going to be useful for you and what's been really revamped is these search categories by agency, category, and NIGP code. So again, I'm going to use the example I mentioned to you guys earlier, which is Department of Buildings. So you can also type it here. We're going to click on Department of Buildings, and you'll see these category and NIGP codes changed. So it's now filtering based on that agency. So you're going to see what Department of Buildings planned acquisition categories are and the NIGP codes. So, and then when you scroll down, it actually tells you what these project titles are and then the total budget, project budget. So if you're interested in a specific agency, you're able to see what they're looking for without, going to that book. And again, this information is constantly being updated, so it's going to be in real time. But let's say you are not targeting a specific agency, you just know that you want to sell a specific product or service. So we could go here and let's search up a construction code and IGP code. So right here, I'm just going to click 9120000, which is construction services. What you'll see here is now it filtered the other way. So it'll tell you construction, there's about, if I'm reading that correctly, 1.2 billion spend, and that's what Department of General Services. So it filtered that it out that way for you. But again, keep in mind, it's only filtering for that specific code. You can also add more codes so that the filter will add, and as you add more NIGP code, it'll bring you to what agencies are buying based on that code. And again, when you are scrolling down, it tells you what planned acquisitions are associated with that NIGP code that is the product or service that you are looking for. And also another super cool thing is you can actually export this information. So you don't, before we used to tell you guys, you want to have like some type of spreadsheet that you create, but you can actually take this information with you, save it. I produced this information on this date or whatever and refer back to it. But maybe you need to get new research, you can pull it again. But that is also another feature. I'm gonna go into the chat and answer some questions. Uh, okay. Okay, NIGP code meaning. So NIGP is the way that DC government buys services and goods. So each service or product that they're seeking or somebody's providing, there's an associated code. So if you are interested, I believe that OCP has actual PDF file of all the NIGP codes available, but you can also go on here and search what type of service or good that you provide, and it'll list the associated codes with it. Um, okay. Thank you, Colin, for answering that as well. Is there a list of contract officers for each agency? So that is not listed on this site here, but when you go to the OCP Transparency Portal, there is a way to identify possible contracting officers that may be associated with certain contracts. If you have any questions about that, you can either reach out to OCP, and we can also at the Business Opportunities team guide you on how to navigate the OCP Transparency Portal. Is there any way to open up the project title to review it? I believe right now it's just identifying it, but we are continually working on it. So it's not going to give you additional details on that at the moment. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Akila, again, the way you want to see the open solicitations is you want to head over to for monitored agencies, the OCP transparency portal. And then for independent agencies, some of the independent agencies have their own portals, or you could go to their website and they have their own systems. But for the monitored agencies on the OCP transparency portal, there is a way to see solicitations, future, and then past contracts as well. Okay. And
Hey,
that is
Aziza,
it.
Aziza,
Yeah.
Aziza. I think there are two hands that were raised. I just want to make sure
Uh,
that we get those two.
yes.
Looks like
So right.
J, R, and FA. Do we
Yes.
get
So
them?
please, I'm not sure. So we need you guys to all put your questions in the chat. If I unmute, then I would have to go in another way. I can't personally unmute people, but if you do have questions, I believe that's FEAV admin and Joseph Reicher. Please put it in the chat. I know Joseph's hand just went down. So Steve, if you have a question, please put it in the chat.
And then one other thing, Colin, you're a great brother. I appreciate you. You're answering a lot of those. Just be mindful though that I think the other folks they're asking the agency, right? And so I just don't want where we get an answer out there and then they're coming to you to remedy that answer. So just give us a second. No apologies necessary, but just let us give the incorrect answer and fix it versus CBE's blowing your phone up. But we do appreciate you sharing. We appreciate that. Um, do we have all of the questions answered?
I think somebody just put in a new question. Deja, regarding the Green Book only shows the spend total and lacks other specificity on the contract solicitation. So on the Green Book, what it's really identifying what they're looking for. If you are looking for contract specific, and also keep in mind these are planned acquisitions. So the details on it may not have been hashed out, but once they become, more details come out, you want to head over to the OCP transparency portal. This is like a bigger guide of where are things spending so that when you go to the OCP transparency portal, you have some type of guide as opposed to you just like going in a blind and just looking at different agencies. Now you know, based on your service, what agencies are looking for what, and also it tells you the amount. So what
One of the
we're
common
gonna
complaints that we received was, because in the book, right, it's just a static number, right? So DSLBD, $1 million. But what you all weren't privy to is, okay, as we spend on that and that number goes down, right? And now you're trying to engage an agency and the money's already spent up. So now this is a way that you could see in real time how the money's kind of going out. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you. Go ahead, Aziza. Sorry about that.
no problem. I don't know what doing that. I'm just gonna refresh it. Give me a moment. So a part of this training is we wanted to give a demonstration of the most common TA questions or agencies or topics that are brought up. So one of those is IT, right? So you could type in technology and you could click on OCTO, sorry, Office of Chief Technology Officer. You'll see their total budget is about 3.6 million. And then you'll see here what services categories that they're looking for. So right now, subscription software licensing is a big bulk of that, almost a bit less than half, it seems, at 1.6 million, but you'll see call center services. So it's a really good way of understanding what services are being, are the government or specific agencies are interested in. And then you'll see the codes here. And again, as for those of you who are in the technology world or providing those services, these are the services that through Octo, right? So because this is agency specific, you can click on that, and then when you unclick it, it opens a broader one. But then we could go again here, technology, uh, because what we just saw is just Octo acquisitions, but we want to see here just generally who is purchasing in technology. So right here, when I'm typing technology, the NIGP code for strategic technologies popped up, and there's a total budget right now of 2.17 million. And then Department of Transportation is actually purchasing that. Who would have knew? So now you know if you are providing that service, that is somebody you want to agency that you want to engage. And as many of you were asking around contracting officers, you want to head over to the OCP transparency portal to get some of that information. So these two tools really work hand in hand. You want to utilize both of them, and then land acquisitions, you're able to see what the project title and the budget, etc., is there. And then we also want to look at, because that's something, a topic we get a lot is consulting. So I'm going to type
Aziza, before you
consult.
before you go into that next example, let's get some of those questions answered out because there's a lot of questions flowing in. Let's pause for a second. Let's get those.
Okay. Thank you. Will the slides and or link to the webinar be available to attendees? Yes, so we are recording this, and as soon as we transition it into a YouTube file, everybody that registered for this training will receive the link to view this training. How often is the transparency portal updated? So I am not aware of that, but they do update it very frequently because new contracts or new solicitations are posted very frequently. So I would say frequently, but I can't give you a timeline.
Yeah, I got that
Green
one. I got
Book.
that one in the
Mhm.
chat. So I directed the person to OCP. It's their tool.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, can you please review again how to get to this page? Yes, no problem. So you wanna just whatever search engine you use. I believe right now we're using Google. You wanna type in Greenbook DC. Excuse me, and it's the first search that's there. If you're having trouble navigating it, just feel free to shoot us an email and we'll send you the direct link. But if you're just searching it from search engine, just type in Greenbook DC. It'll bring you to the overall page. And if you want to view the static, just the book that's basically printed information, you want to click view the Green Book and it'll present it in a PDF format. But if you want to go into the interactive part of the click find opportunities, and that's where you're going to see the find opportunities page. And the first initial page that you're going to see is just a chart, a breakdown. So here is where you're going to be able to see first by district government, but then you could break it down by agency, but then you want to click on new and planned acquisitions, and that's where you start to get this filter system of trying to find NIGP codes. I hope that answers your question. Is the one from actual spend or estimated spend assumed? So the spend, Keith, do you want to cover that?
Yeah, I got it.
Mhm.
So the spend is calculated. So each agency has to report in their expected spend to our compliance division. That's actually how the Green Book is created. The first stop is our compliance division. And so we go through that. We look at the codes, we look at what their expected spend is, and that spend is the gospel, right? That's what we're going to monitor them on for the 50% expenditure, right? So if I'll use DSLBD as the example again, if our spend is $1 million, right, that's what we reported into the compliance team, $1 million. And then that means that with CBEs that are small, it's going to be 500,000. Then that's what we're going to be monitored on, right? So I don't look at it as an assumed number, um, because quite frankly, I wouldn't want to be the agency that's not making the spend, right? So these numbers are real numbers, and that's why we wanted to give it to you all in more real time versus just having the book. It's nothing wrong with the book. I use the book to make notes, etc. But to have it in real time, I think is better for everybody, including our compliance folks. So if you need any further clarification, again, you can always reach out to business.opportunities@dc.gov and get some technical assistance from our team.
Okay. All right, let me see if
I think it was where can you find the directory to engage those agencies? I think that was one, DC Go Green LLC. So on that one, you would find, well, if I were you, I would use the OCP transparency portal, but I would also use the agency's website themselves. The Green Book is not going to help you find contact info for a procurement person in an agency. The Green Book's going to help you find and help you with your market research to build your own pipeline for your own business development. So again, we've got some tips on how to do that. If you want to book some time for technical assistance with our team, we'd be glad to help you with that. I think the next one was Vincent.
I think you missed. So,
Did I
I
miss
think
one?
yeah, I think it was FedSci. I may have missed this. How often is the data refreshed? So right now we're working on quarterly, but the goal is to have it more automated, so much more frequent. And I think just to answer another question that came down the line, we do get the information from OCP, so they provide the information in terms of the budgets and what type of procurement or acquisition information, and then we provide that data into this so that you guys can navigate it. But right now it is quarterly, but the goal is to have it updated more frequently. And I think, Yemi, if a project is forecasted, how can we be aware that the solicitation becomes live? So generally, so this tool, Greenbook, is just to be more aware of what's coming down the pipeline, or just navigate and finding what opportunities that regarding the services or goods that you provide. But once you kind of do your research here, what you want to do is move on to the OCP transparency portal, and there you'll see there is a forecasted tab, and you'll have to monitor that. That is something that you're going to have to manually do as of right now. I think Deja you responded to my question, I'm guessing, is professional services. So what you want to do here is first you want to make sure that you hadn't selected anything if you were searching something beforehand, because that will skew the results. But so for NIGP codes, let's type in professional. And I may have selected something, so I'm gonna go back and click it again so it could be a fresh page. And you want to click new planned acquisitions right here, professional. Not sure it's not coming up right now. So right here, right here. So professional services, there's a code 9690000. So you want to click on that and then it's going to filter it that way. So this is specific professional services, higher education. But what you also want to do is you want to make sure, because just to reference your question, and the code that you provided was, I think, not the full, I think it is 7 numbers. So you want to put in the full one. If you are unsure, you can always again refer to the PDF file that OCP publishes of all the codes to make sure that you're entering the right code, or if you already have that code in your CBE portal, you want to pull from there. And if you're having additional problems with that, please book a technical assistance session. Often during failure will this be updated, so that's already been answered. Where can you find the directory to engage those agencies? So again, there's several ways to do this. And if you want more in-depth assistance with that, I encourage you to book a technical assistance session. But you can find a common contracting officer sometimes through the transparency portal, or oftentimes you can also go to the agency's website itself and look for an organizational chart, and it'll list like a procurement person or a contracting officer directly there.
The best thing to do is reach out to us and get some technical assistance, because every transaction is a different transaction. You all have different needs, different levels of experience in government contracting. So we rather meet you where you are. So while these questions are great and general in nature, at the end of the day, the best way to get your answer is to book time with us directly. Any others,
Uh,
Aziza, that we got in here?
Yes, so Vincent Hemphill, I didn't want to just gloss over, but yes, so the same thing that Keith and I just said, when it comes to specific, we do recommend, depending on the agency or just generally, you want to book a technical assistance session so that we can guide you to the best practice to being able to engage somebody from that agency.
What was
Um,
his question? What was his question, Aziz? I don't see it in the chat.
um,
Maybe I missed
It
it.
was I've been trying to get in contact with several agencies using Greenbook, but either I get the runaround or no response
Okay.
answer. What would be the next
Okay.
steps you would
Let me let
recommend?
me let me take a stab at that. So we hear about that runaround a lot, Vincent. I'm sorry, you won't get that from this agency or this team. But I would recommend though that you stop using the Green Book to find people. You use the Green Book to find opportunities. Then once you found that opportunity, then you want to engage the agency directly. If you still see that you're not getting, and I tell people this all the time in technical assistance, I would send those folks 3 emails. Once I don't get a reply, I'm going to send it over to the Office of Contractor Procurement, to the Office of the Ombudsman, or somebody to help me. OCP has a customer service division that is excellent, right? They've got numerous ways that they can reach out through email, through phone, or through a web form. So you're going to get a response back. At that, it's funny. Nobody has any problem getting response from DSLBD. Know why? Because folks know that A, our people are going to get back, but B, if someone on my team doesn't get back, you all are going to reach me. And if I don't get back, you all are going to reach our director. Period. The end. Right. So we're in the service business. So I just want to make sure, Vincent, that you're using the Green Book for what it's intended, which is to get you that market research you need to build your business development pipeline. All right, next one.
Yes, so I just want to scroll down. Nicole Jackson, I see your question is regarding price out a bid. So we are not currently covering that topic, but again, I do encourage you to book a technical assistance session to discuss that further so we can provide you the tools, as we don't really provide information or guidance on pricing. But we can send you to resources that are available to get that assistance. If you want to chime in on that, Keith, as well, feel free.
No, you nailed it. You got it.
Yeah. After certain. Yes. So again, if you guys have any specific questions about proposals and things of that nature, please book a technical assistance session. After searching the project and IGP and finding contract available, what is the best method to get a proposal out? Yes, so you really want to book a technical assistance session for that. Should I contact the contracting officer or sign up? So whatever, just to give an overview, whatever instructions are provided in that solicitation, that is going to be our general instruction, which is to follow what the instructions are provided in that solicitation. Yes, so our Matt, I believe, is providing our contact information, which is the business.opportunities@dc.gov. Keith, if you could put your email, and I will put my email in the chat as well for follow-up to specific people. How do we use that data? Nicole, you put that in at 1242. Can you provide a little bit more specific as to what data you're referring to? Okay. Um, okay. Okay. And that is all. Is there any more questions? So I'm gonna reshare um the initial PowerPoint. And if you guys have any questions as far as like navigating it, this tool in specific to, whatever field or industry you're in, please book a technical assistance session, because we're not able to, go through each category because there's a lot of you guys on here. So we did try to go over the categories or the industries that we get the most TAs or questions about, being construction, IT, and consulting. But even if you're in those industries or other industries, please book a technical assistance session. Matt has just put the virtual link. We provide virtual technical assistance session, and we're also at the MLK Library on the fourth Wednesday of each month. Uh, oh, Fedzai, okay, when do we expect to have the 26 data?
Ignore that question. Ignore that question.
Yeah.
But here's the timeline, Fedzai. So the year ends September 30th. The fiscal year ends. So we have to go through and check first to make sure that the agencies have made their spend and deal with that. Simultaneously, we have to then get the new year's spend. So ultimately, it would be great if we could get it. I think last year was January, which was okay. That was good. This year was a little later, but I think you guys see the reason why, right? So we were still in development mode to get this out, and then of course we had that horrific plane crash, and the mayor decided to push the date back, which was the right thing to do. So we don't have a definitive answer to that question, but that's the timeline.
Okay. And I also wanted to, it came back to my mind, Deja, regarding the code. So you also want to keep in mind this is specific to planned acquisitions. So what it might be is that there is no planned acquisition with that direct NIGP code. So you want to try different codes. So when we typed in professional, and there's different codes that attached to professional services, certain came up, but as of right now, there is no planned acquisition tied to that specific 918-5200 code. So just keep that in mind. Um, would I be able to update the code? So if you're referring to the codes that you have attached to your CBE, yes, you can reach out to the cbe.info@dc.gov, or if you already have the contact information for your certification specialist, if you have questions about how to do that. But if you are well versed in the DES system where you applied for your CBE certification, you could go into that portal and request codes, and the certification team will have to approve that. But you can definitely update your codes to be more applicable to what you have going on. And I think somebody was asking about the information for when we're at the MLK library. So we're there the fourth Wednesday of each month, and Matt also has dropped that information and the link to book. And that's all the information for today. We'll stay on for a little while if you guys have any additional questions. And I'll, again, let me share the PowerPoint so that you guys can see the contact information.
And I just want to take the time, to thank you all. Um, it's important that you get those questions asked. I always tell you guys, it's important to be seen and heard, right? And so I appreciate you guys. Without you all, there isn't an us. Um, but I'm also going to challenge you, right? As a call to action here, you've got another tool that gets you closer to a win, right? So $1.4 billion is set aside for people like you, right? Your CBEs that are small. So if you think that your business development strategy may be broken, there's help out there. Don't do it alone. There's help out there, and we're part of that help. And if we can do it, we will be glad to do it. We'll meet you right where you are. Yes, billion, Selena, with a B. Correct.
Yes, and I just wanted to spend some time on this. So here you have the Business Opportunities Division, which is us, me, Keith, Matt, Katina, and James that you're all familiar with. But then we also have the Apex Accelerators that give more ongoing counseling assistance. So if you are they also engage CBEs, and if you're interested in the federal space as well. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to loop us in Business Opportunities and we could give you a referral over there. And then again, if you have questions about the OCP, Office of Contract and Procurement, there's an ombudsman again, and we've provided their phone number and their email. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, again, this training is being recorded, so you'll have access to this. And then last but not least, just information for DSLBD, which is our agency. So if you have questions related to CBE program, you want to reach out to the cbe.info@dc.gov. But if you have any questions about business opportunities, you want to reach out to us, business.opportunities@dc.gov.
I think there was a hand up, Aziza. JP, it looks like. And then also Gregory, I think, had a question in the chat.
Let me see. I'm gonna try to go back from the last one we addressed. Yeah, so for any specific questions about support in drafting proposals, we do not provide that, but we can connect you with resources that could support you with that. So please give us an email. Okay, perfect. Does this apply to organizations that receive government funding? So there are some government partners that may have their information on there, but don't quote me on it. For more information on that, please book a technical assistance session. But some of them do provide some information for government partners. And I think that is all that's been in the chat. If you have any questions, please put in the chat. Okay, perfect. A lot of you are saying that you booked technical assistance sessions. That is music to our ears. Okay, no new questions are really coming in. We'll stay around for another 3 minutes, but I'm gonna mute my mic now. Thank you again, everybody, for joining. I think it's been a really valuable session. Thanks for all the thank yous. Keith, if you want to finish out, feel free.
Yep, I'm going to finish out by saying Aziz is the best in the business, you guys. So it takes a lot of work to put this stuff on and get the right information to you, accurate and timely. And she does a great job with that. So I want to publicly recognize her for her effort.